How's it going, everybody? Today I have for you a handstand alignment correction video. It's going to be a follow along format and I hope everybody enjoys it. So let's get our handstands corrected. Stick with me. Skill, strength, mobility, all through calisthenics. This is Nathan Shaw and welcome to my channel. So I'm assuming that you're already warmed up and ready to do handstands. And if you're not warmed up and ready to do handstands, I do have a follow along warm up video that I posted last week. So go ahead and check that out. If you're not warmed up, that'll get you warmed up. Anyways, we're gonna start off today with just regular handstands. So let's do it. All right, so we're gonna shoot for around 3 sets at first of just 30-second regular handstands. I want you to do as good of an alignment, so a good line, as you possibly can, and by the end of this video hopefully we can get it a little straighter. So this is kind of a handstand warm-up even though you're already warmed up. So let's get into it. All right. All right, so now we're just gonna actually shoot for around 15 to 20 seconds for the next two. So let's take a break. Let's take about 30-second to a minute break and then we'll get back into it. So while we take our little bit of a break here, I'm gonna talk about the next exercise that we're gonna be doing after this, after our next 2 sets, and that's gonna be the tucked handstand. The tucked handstand is one of my favorites. I started it pretty early and it has honestly helped my line significantly. I blame it pretty much for most of my alignment correction, but we're also going to do a couple other fundamental necessary handstand drills just to keep us also aligned side to side and every other direction. Let's just put it that way. So anyways, let's get back into our second set of just regular handstands. All right, that's set number 2. Let's take a small break. We're gonna do another 30 seconds. Let's do that. Whew, catch your breath. It's not necessarily the easiest thing. So in this video, I'm also assuming that you already have a fairly strong handstand, obviously. So I'm just assuming you have a slight banana in your handstand. Nothing wrong with that. So that's what we're working on. We're gonna slowly get rid of that banana and we're gonna straighten it up. Just keep on doing this routine, have consistency, practice it a couple days a week, and you'll have a nice looking handstand. And now let's go ahead and get on into our last set of just regular handstands, and then we're gonna move on to tucked handstands. So let's shoot for about a 15-second hold. I'd say at that point we're definitely warmed up and ready to do some tucked handstands. So one last 15-second hold regular handstand. All right, let's take another break. Take some deep breaths. Let the blood start going back down to the normal parts of your body. Start reversing that blood flow. And just kind of cool down for a little bit. It doesn't take long to kind of cool off and be able to do a little bit more. So let's just take a second and we'll get straight into tucked handstands. All right, Now we're going to get into the tucked handstands. And if you don't know what a tucked handstand is, it's pretty much once you're in a handstand position, keep staring at the spot that you typically stare at. It's a little different for everybody, but wherever you normally stare at, keep staring at that spot. What you're going to do, I don't know why I have my arms up, but you're going to slowly bring your knees to your chest, kind of like this, but you're going to be in a handstand, and it's going to look a lot better than that. So anyways, let's get into it. So once you get into the position, you want to shoot for 90 degrees with your knees as much as possible. Once you get there, just go ahead and hold that. And then once you get comfortable with holding that position, in time you can eventually lower them closer and closer to your chest. And then you'll have a really tight tucked handstand. That takes a while though. So anyways, we're gonna do it. Whew. So like that. That was actually a pretty clean tucked handstand. I held it for a while. You can't really do much better than that. Just keep doing those over and over again. Right now we're going to go ahead and do those 2 more times after we rest a little bit. Whew. But the whole point of that exercise is it really helps, 1, open your shoulders up more, and 2, it kind of teaches you to have more of a neutral / posterior pelvic tilt, which just really helps you have that perfect line, straight handstand. And honestly, at the end of the day, if you want to do handstands, that's your main goal, is a perfect line. All right, guys. In about 10 more seconds, we're going to go ahead and get right back into it. And like I told you, the tucked handstand really is one of my favorite handstand drills. It really is good at fixing everything. The more you do tucked handstands, the better off you're going to be, and it's really going to work you towards that pike press, straddle press, and just a press to handstand in general. And press to handstands are pretty cool. So if you can do an exercise that gets you closer to that, I recommend you do it. Let's go ahead and do another one. All right, guys. So we're going to get into one more of those, one last set of tucked handstands, and then we're going to start doing some straddle handstands. So straddle handstands, as you know, are a handstand, but you're going to be out in straddle, which is awesome. Straddles come in handy for all sorts of other calisthenic exercises. So the more you work your straddle, the better off you're going to be, in my opinion. And honestly, the more you work your straddle in your handstand, you're just going to have a better and better hip positioning, and you're going to be able to slowly transition into one-arm handstands and some other cool things. It's very good to work, and you're also working your middle splits at the same time in a way. You're working those same muscles. So anybody who's trying to get more mobile usually knows that the more you consistently work those muscles, the looser, the stronger, the more mobile you're going to be. So guys, let's get back into our tucked handstand, and let's do one last, let's say 15-20 second hold, whatever you're able to do, whatever I'm able to do. Let's get into it. Whew. Those are difficult, and compared to a regular handstand, they really do require more strength. You're using a lot more of that palm and underbalance skill. So a lot of people know when you're working your handstands, Underbalance really comes in handy for press to handstands and just overall handstand stability in general. So I can't stress it enough, guys. Work your tucked handstand more and more. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get into our first set of straddle handstands. We're gonna do 3 of these as well. So we're only gonna shoot for about 15-second straddle holds. So let's do the first one, and then I'll talk some more. All right, so I didn't really warm up my straddle per se beforehand. And in my opinion, you really don't have to when it comes to these, because as you get into them, you're gonna warm up and you're gonna open up a little bit more. So if you wanted to, you could always do more than 3 sets of these and just count the first couple as like warm-up sets. Totally up to you. Or you could even add a little bit of like middle splits. Like I like to use a chair and like do some middle splits and whatnot to warm up my straddle beforehand sometimes. However, a lot of times I think just getting into the handstand and warming up getting into your straddle is the way to go. So anyways, guys, let's take about another 10-second break and we'll get into our next set. Let's go ahead and start getting into position for our next set. We'll slowly move so that way we get a little bit more rest time. Because honestly, I haven't given you all a whole lot of rest time throughout this routine, but I'm trying to keep it somewhat fast paced so it's not way too long of a video, because it easily could be. So honestly, in between all these, once you have the routine down, go ahead and take a little bit more rest if you need to. There's nothing wrong with taking a minute rest in between everything. Sometimes I just get into it and I do 30 seconds to a minute myself, because then my body's just kind of more in tune with the movement itself. And then I find that I don't have to spend as much time kind of re-getting back into it. I don't know, we all face our difficulties, so that's one of mine. Anyways, let's get back into the straddle handstand. All right, guys. Now we're gonna do our last set here in about another 30 seconds. We're gonna take a good break time this time. And whenever you're coming down from your straddle, eventually, if you could work on slowly kind of shifting your hip and bringing your straddle down, you'll eventually be able to work into what's called a negative press to handstand. Sorry, I'm really messing up my words here. But you'll be able to do negative straddle press to handstands that way. And that's a really good exercise as well to eventually be able to do straddle press to handstands. So the straddle handstand is a very beneficial movement, and I suggest you just work it more often. So do some tucks, do some straddles, and just do them consistently throughout your week. If you need to do tucks on one day, straddles on another day, there's nothing wrong with that. So you just need to kind of take this routine and kind of do what you need to do with it to make it work for you. I have no problem working all these exercises all in one day now. Back in the day, I would have to choose tucks or I'd have to choose straddles, just because I didn't have quite the handstand endurance that I do nowadays. So the longer you do this, the more endurance you get, the more practice you're gonna be able to do, and the better you're gonna be. So let's get back into our last straddle handstand. All right, guys, let's do it. hope you've had some fun with this routine also. I really enjoy it. I can do handstands all day long. Anyways, I'm gonna take a short break. You need to take a short break, about 15, 20 seconds, and then I'm gonna explain the next exercise. And now I do have one last exercise for you all today, and this one is definitely a little more advanced. I call them side to sides. I don't know if that's like traditionally what they're called, but you're gonna be in a straddle handstand, and instead of looking, what I want you to do is start looking in your normal spot, but then I want you to shift looking to the right, and then lean your hips to the right, and then come back to the center, and then look to the left, and then lean your hips to the left while you're in a straddle. I'm gonna demonstrate it for you. But anyways, we're gonna only do 2 of these, and let me demonstrate the first time. All right, those are not easy, and I'm not perfect at them myself. So I like to work these pretty frequently, but honestly, just do them about 2 days a week, and it's gonna help you slowly transition into the one-arm handstand. And like for me, I have a little bit of an imbalance on my left side because I've had shoulder surgery 2 times in the past, and this is helping me kind of shift my weight to my left side and get it used to a little bit more weight. So it's a very beneficial exercise. And we're gonna do 2 more. So now I want you to do these with me and just try to shoot for 1 to the right, 1 to the left, another 1 to the right, another 1 to the left. So just shoot for 2 times if you can. And if you can't first, then just do what you can. That's honestly the way all of this works, y'all. You need to work the progression that you're best at and then just progressively overload it. Just keep on doing more of it, get better at it, give yourself time to recover. And honestly, you'll have a beautiful looking handstand before you know it. It just takes time and it takes the work. So let's get into another one. I went a little wide this time. All right, that was beautiful. I mean, you can't really ask for more. It's not perfect, and I'm gonna let you in on a secret. My floor is not completely level. It kind of slopes this way just a little bit, which when it comes to handstands, makes a little bit of a difference. Not too bad. Anyways, we're gonna do 1 more, but we're gonna take a good break here, okay? We're gonna do about 20 seconds, and I'm just gonna kind of talk a little bit. So we're gonna be doing our last set here soon, and then that's gonna be the last set for the day, and that's the routine, everybody. Honestly, it's a very basic handstand routine of basic fundamental handstand drills that if you're serious about handstands, these are what you need to be working on. These are the fundamentals that are gonna get you the perfect handstand that you want. In any sport, and I consider this a sport myself, any sport, you work on the fundamentals. It is all about the fundamentals. You get really, really, really good at the fundamentals, and then that's gonna show in the long run. If you want to do the cool things, the advanced movements, you have to work these fundamentals, guys. And honestly, the more you work these, the better you get at them, the easier those advanced exercises are going to be. If you start those advanced exercises a little too soon, it's going to be a lot harder, and you're actually going to be fighting against yourself. So if you can, kind of take the ego down a little bit, work on your fundamentals, and then you can move on to the more advanced skills. All right, guys, let's get into this last one. That's all I got. All right, so as you saw, I didn't even quite get both of my rotations down. It is what it is, guys. It's good work, even when you fail. So I may do another one once this video is done, but you don't have to. Keep working this routine, be consistent with it, and you will see improvements. I absolutely promise you. All right, everybody, I am Nathan Shaw, and thanks for watching. I know this is a long one, and honestly, guys, I'm still learning myself. My handstand is getting pretty good. It's really quite decent. I'm slowly working on my one arms. I have pressed the handstands down pretty decently, but yet I still work these fundamental movements weekly, multi-times a week. And yes, I just said multi-times. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna end this video here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you. Oh, and also, if you would, please subscribe, and please like the video. Have a good one.